Assalamualaikum and hi you all. How are you guys? Hopefully everything is good, yeah? Okay, now we are going to learn about the internet address. Internet got the address? Really? Yes, internet has address too. So, we look at the learning outcome first. At the end of this lesson, students should be able to first, identify basic structure of IPv4 and IPv6 address. Second, describe why IPv6 is used instead of IPv4. And lastly, describe the purpose of an IP address and its relationship to a domain name. What is internet address? Okay, let's talk about our house first. Every house has their own address, right? Okay, for an example, number 10, Taman Gopeng Perdana, Gopeng, Perak. So, same goes to the computer or devices that has an internet connection, where every computer and devices that are connected to the internet has its own address. This is the definition for the internet address. Internet address is a sequence of numbers that uniquely identifies the location of each computer or device connected to the internet or any other network. It is a unique 32-bit number assigned to the network devices that use internet protocol. Why do we need IP address? As the internet relies on an addressing system much like the postal service to send data to a computer or devices at a specific destination. There are two standards of internet address. First, IPv4. Second, IPv6. What is IPv4? It is the first version of IP address. It uses a 32-bit address scheme, allowing for a total of 2 to the power of 32 addresses. Let's see the basic structure of IPv4. It is made up of 4 groups of numbers that range from 0 to 255, separated by a period. IPv4 is written in decimal number. It has 2 parts. The first 3 groups of numbers identifies the network, while the last group of numbers identifies the specific computer. And let's see at the IPv6. What is IPv6? It is a new version of IP address. It has more capabilities than IPv4 in providing more IP address. It means that IPv6 can support more IP address compared to IPv4. It uses a 128 bits address scheme, allowing for a total of 2 to the power of 128 addresses. And this is the basic structure for IPv6. IPv6 made up of 8 groups of numbers separated by colons. It is written in a hexadecimal number. Still remember what is the hexadecimal number? Okay, it has 3 parts. First, a global prefix to identify the network. Second, a subnet to identify the location within the network. And third, the interface ID to identify the specific computer or host. This is the example for IPv4. Look at IPv4. It has 4 groups of decimal number and each group is separated by a period. The maximum number for IPv4 is 255. And this is the example for IPv6. It has 8 groups of hexadecimal number and each group is separated by a colon. Some IP address is categorized under reserved IP address. Here are some examples of reserved IP address. Let's proceed to domain name. What is domain name? Domain name is the text version of an IP address. It means that the IP address is in a number form while domain name is in the text form. Why does domain name exist? Some people got problems in memorizing number, especially a long number. So, domain name is the way to solve it, as we just need to remember a short address in a text form. The first period identifies the type of internet server. Every domain name contains a top-level domain, or TLD, which is the last section of the domain name. It is used usually to identify the type of organization associated with the domain. Some examples of domain name are www.google.com and www.kmpk.metric.edu.my. Let's see about domain name system and domain name system server. What is domain name system, or DNS? DNS is a method that the internet uses to store domain names and their corresponding IP address, while domain name system server is an internet server that usually associated with an internet access provider. It translates the domain name into its associated IP address so that the data and information can be routed to the correct computer and device. What is the relationship between IP address and a domain name? Domain name is the text version of IP address. In the domain name, we have a top-level domain, or TLD. We have two categories of TLD. First, generic TLD, or GTLD, that identifies the type of organization associated with the domain. Second, country code TLD, or CCTLD, that identifies the country of origin associated with the domain. Here are some examples of GTLD. And here are some examples of CCTLD. This is the past year question about internet address. Think and answer it. That's all for now. Thank you and bye-bye.